Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here on Saturday, February 15th for Game 2 of today's basketball doubleheader. It's Concordia Chicago's men's team taking on the St. Norbert's men's teams. The Cougars, a team that has been very hot lately, taking on the second-ranked team in the Northern Athletic Conference, Collegiate Conference. And this is a game that should be good. Like you mentioned, the Cougars very, very hot, coming off of a 74-69 win at Aurora this last Thursday. They're still 9-13 on the season. They've fought their way all the way back up to 7-8 in conference. They're tied for that 7th, 8th seed in the conference playoff right now, Alan. They've had a lot of important pieces in those last few games. I mean, you look at that Aurora game, Aaron Brown, career highs in points and rebounds with 18 and 9 respectively. But I mean, there's some pretty big points from these last few games as a total that you kind of want to watch out for going into this game.
Yeah, this is a huge playoff implication game for the Cougars. Like you said, coming off those huge wins off of Rockford and Aurora on the road as well. They come into tonight really looking to establish another foot within the St. Norbert game. But I really want to highlight the bench. I feel like the bench is a key piece of tonight's game that they're going to have to utilize, especially with Norbert being such a defensive-minded team. Second in the NAC in points allowed with 66 around there. They're going to have to get utilization from everybody. It can't just be one or two guys tonight. It's going to have to be a whole team effort if they want to be able to pull this off. They averaged about 11.5 these past two games. Even though they were able to win, they were pretty close wins. The game against Marion, who Marion is another really tough defensive team, they had 20 points off the bench. So being able to provide that kind of scoring when your starters are not in the game, it's going to be really important, and I feel like it's going to be a huge piece to watch out for tonight.
Absolutely, and that point distribution is something that is a hallmark of this St. Norbert squad. They have great players, they have stars, but they find ways to diversify the scoring. You look at their most recent game, which was a 99-60 blowout win over Lakeland, which is also their head coach Gary Gresh's 400th career win. A lot of different players scoring, a good chunk of guys in double digits, a chunk of guys in that 5 to 10 range. This is a team that can diversify that, but they do have some big players. Brant Wilson had a double-double that last game, 20 points, 10 rebounds. A lot of other guys with double digits. That's not the only part where Wilson has been key to this team this season, though.
Yeah, Jonathan, as you were mentioning, he can score the basketball, but as we were mentioning, St. Norbert is a defensive-minded team. This is a team that prides itself. This is how they win their games.
Yeah. And
Brant Wilson is somebody who is their anchor. That's their big guy, 6'8", middle, protects the rim, 28 blocks on the season, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's going to be that rim protector. Especially, it's going to be interesting to see because CUC likes to play in the paint a little bit. Aaron Brown especially, Jacob Collicott, we know he loves to get in there. It's going to be interesting dynamic to see with that kind of rim protection there against CUC. If the Cougars will try to play a little more on the perimeter side, maybe try to force out a little bit on the mid-range, open up the three-game a little bit more, and then really try to see if they can get into the paint and expose that a little bit for Norbert. So they're just going to have to make a few adjustments here to be able to provide that. And, they're going to have to get to Brant Wilson. They're going to win tonight.
Absolutely. As we get ready for this game, what should be a really good matchup. This is a great St. Norbert's team and a Cougars team that's been playing a lot better than they have this season in the last couple of games. Allen, tough game for CUC. Very winnable, though. What do you think they've got to do today to get it done?
They got to play aggressive and push the tempo. They cannot let St. Norbert lull them down. This is a team that's not going to make many mistakes. They're very disciplined. They don't foul much. You're going to have to really spread the ball around. You're going to have to push pace, push tempo, really take your options when you need it to. This CUC team cannot fall into that trap they have been throughout the season where they get into the turnovers. They do not take care of their possessions and kind of rush shots. You're going to have to be really disciplined tonight. You're going to have to play really careful, and you're just going to have to make sure that you're executing.
Absolutely. And for me on that end, it kind of aligns with that, trying to not fall asleep. You get on offense, the Cougars need to work the perimeter tonight. Making three-pointers is big for a game. This team has guys that can hit threes. That three-pointer percentage, and three-pointers made, that's the one part of the game where St. Norbert's doesn't really drastically outperform their opponents. It's not just because of that, though. I want to go back to when you were talking about Brant Wilson. You mentioned that this Cougar team loves to slash into the paint. Jacob Collicott, Aaron Brown. If you work the perimeter well, you force this St. Norbert's defense to spread out, open up the paint a bit. then you have more of those opportunities to get to the rim, work in there, and you can open up your offense then. I think that's what the Cougars have really got to focus on offensively to get the job done against St. Norbert's. And really quick, before we get ready for today's game, a quick look at the history between these two teams. And outside of a home-and-home series back in the 2000s, St. Norbert's didn't join the NAC until 2022, and this all-time series has gone their way. The Cougars have won 1, St. Norbert's has won 6. Very lopsided in the Green Knights' favors. Cougars have lost the last 4 contests, including their first game this year, which the Cougars were blown out 71-48 up at St. Norbert's. They'll look to get back on track against the Green Knights here today in River Forest. And we're here to bring you that action on the Cougar Sports Network. I'm Jonathan Shear with Alan Mateo today. Don't go away, because we're going to be right back here in Geisman Gymnasium for what should be an exciting matchup between the Cougars and the Green Knights. Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to River Forest here at Concordia, Chicago. We're in Geisman Gymnasium getting ready for tip-off here between the Cougars and the Green Knights. And the starting lineups have been read. We'll run through those for you very quickly. For the Green Knights and Gary Gresh's squad, it's number 0, Will Stuckey, number 3, Brant Wilson, number 10, Jamison Nikolai, number 11, Aiden Harrington, and number 41, Garrett Gresh. For the Cougars, number 3, Tallis Lowry, number 11, Darian Williams, number 30, Aaron Brown, number 33, Sean Beckman, and their star, number 14, Jacob Collicott. And you see these teams headed out on the court. You see that height difference between these two squads. This is a St. Norbert's team that has a lot of big players out there, but the Cougars, they've played up against teams like that so far very well this season. It's going to be Jacob Collicott going up against Brant Wilson. Would have been that. Usually Collicott does take the tip, but this time they'll go for the size play. Aaron Brown going to go up against Brant Wilson for the tip as we get ready for tip-off. And Brown just able to tip it over. to the Cougars. Tallis Lowry will run point to start this for CUC. Darian Williams out the far sideline, gets it to Brown. Brown, mid-range jumper, hits it! Aaron Brown, coming off the best game of his career, gets the Cougars going early.
And that's exactly what we were talking about in the pregame, Jonathan, just being able to work that perimeter. You know, with St. Norbert, they're going to have very strong paint defense, especially with Brant Wilson in the middle. It's good to see Aaron Brown kind of following that, shooting a nice little mid-range jump shot to get it going.
Now Garrett Gresh from 3. He'll splash it in. And the Gresh responds. It's a 3-2 lead early for St. Norbert's. Tallis Lowry gets that to Sean Beckman. Beckman goes back to Lowry. Lowry slashing in, spinning, out to Collicott, over to Beckman, corner 3. No good, rebounded by CUC. And Brent Wilson, his first points of the day. St. Norbert's up 5-2 early. We mentioned in the pregame, this is a game with a big playoff implications for the Cougars. It's the toughest game left on their schedule. But it's a final 3 games that are tough for CUC. Illinois Tech, a game that Cougars very much can win. Not a pushover, though, and you're going on the road for that game. And then you finish your season at home against MSOE, a team that put up 100 on you, a very tough team to beat. This is a critical game for CUC as the shot clock, 5 seconds left. Williams driving, throws it up, and in.
Really, really good finish there from Darren Williams. Somebody else that I really want to see kind of get going. He's somebody that likes to pick his spots in the mid-range. Somebody who could really have a really good game tonight if he continues to do that.
Wilson slings that over to Nikolai. Nikolai back to Harrington. Over to Wilson. He pull up from 3, and he'll hit it. The Cougars leaving the big man open at the arc, and St. Norbert's making the Cougars pay. It's 8-4.
Well, even if you leave somebody that wide open, you kind of have to take it. Kind of don't have it's a win-win situation there.
St. Norbert's going to draw an off-ball offensive foul on Sean Beckman. A turnover for CUC, and Rashawn Searles is going to call his first timeout of the game, a half timeout for the Cougars as they try and prevent any serious bleeding early on in this game.
Yeah, John, I kind of want to hit back on the point of the huge playoff implications of this game. The Cougars have really worked really hard this month, especially after coming off a really, really bad January. Able to kind of turn around so far with 3 games, with 3-game win streak. You kind of look for them to kind of finish the way this streak has gone. Being able to just keep playing the game that they've been playing and just gotta be able to execute and finish. They come so far, but as you said, it's gonna be their toughest test yet. But if you're gonna be a really good team, you gotta be the best, and this is what it's gonna take. So it's gonna be an exciting game. Hopefully, the Cougars can pull it out.
Absolutely. Nikolai inbounds to Stuckey. Stuckey working on Lowry. Still working on Lowry. Looking for an option. Gets it to Nikolai. Nikolai able to reel that in. Gets it to Gresh in the mid-range. Gresh going to work on Beckman. Moving in. Puts up the fadeaway. No good. Rebound Collicott. Collicott pushing the pace. He'll slow it up. Sling it over to Lowry. Lowry back to Beckman, back to Collicott. Collicott pulls up from 3. No good off the front of the rim. Rebound Brown, back to Collicott. Collicott moving into the mid-range, slings it to Beckman. Beckman baseline drive. And they are going to call a foul on the Green Knights. That's tagged on Brant Wilson. First of the day for the St. Norbert's, first of the day for Wilson. And the Cougars are going to reset on the shot clock. Williams looking for an option. Inbounds to Beckman. Back to Lowry, and the Cougars will start with their point guard up top. Lowry thought about slashing in. Kicks out to Collicott, out to Williams. Now Williams, no look pass to Beckman, and Beckman just is going to pass that out of bounds off of Gresh. So CUC will retain possession, but with only 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
Maybe try to get a high ball screen here. Try to fake a little roll here, get somebody open on the mid-range. Maybe even a nice little three-pointer. Try to get a
down
good
to
look
Lowry.
Here.
3 seconds left. Lowry gets it to Beckman. And it's out of bounds off of St. Norbert's. But it's got to be a tap and shoot for CUC. 1 second left on the shot clock. Lowry, Beckman throws it up. No good. Gresh is there, and they're pushing the pace with Harrington. Harrington slows it down, gets it to Stuckey. No fast break for St. Norbert's. Wilson going to work on Beckman. Looking for somewhere to go. Back to Harrington, back to Wilson. Now Gresh from 3 again. No good. Rings around straight to Nikolai. Now Harrington moving into the mid-range. Out to Gresh. Gresh working in. Pump fake. Gets it to Wilson. Wilson puts it up. No good. Rims out. Rebound Collicott. Jacob Collicott slashing in. Throws it out to Williams. Now Williams mid-range out to Beckman. Straight away 3. No good off the backboard.
Cougars getting some good looks early on, just not being able to, finish through them right now. But those kind of looks you kind of want to see from them, which is good to see. Hopefully they'll be able to continue to make them.
Harrington from 3, no good. Rebound Williams. CUC 2+ minute scoring drought. Williams moving into the mid-range. A nice ball to Sean Beckman, who's blocked by the bottom of the rim. And that's out of bounds off of Wilson. Cougars will keep possession as we see our first wave of substitutions. And they come from St. Norbert's. 3 players off, 3 players on. Lineup gets a little smaller for St. Norbert's. Collicott to inbound. Gets it into Brown. Brown working on Gresh. He puts it up. No good. Rebounded by Nikolai.
A really tough contest there. Made it hard on Aaron Brown.
Yeah, and both teams over 2.5 minutes scoreless now. Gresh, long 2 off the back of the rim. No good. It's out of bounds off of Brown. Good awareness out of Uhlenbrock to let that go. Well, Watts still hasn't worked his way back into the starting lineup since coming back from injury. Uhlenbrock from 3. That'll end the drought. St. Norbert's up by 7.
Team that really isn't known for their three-point shooting. St. Norbert's coming off hot. 3 for 5 to start the night.
And they're getting good looks from deep. Ball to Collicott. Collicott double team spinning. Blocked and fouled by Garrett Gresh. He'll head to the line.
I kind of want you to just see how they threw 2 bodies at Collicott, and they kind of sped him up a little bit. Kind of made him rush a little bit on the shot. This is kind of what, St. Norbert does. They're going to force you to play their game a little bit, and it's something that the Cougars are going to have to kind of adjust to a little bit. Not being able to force themselves in bad situations like that and understanding that, you're going to have other players around that are going to help you is going to be key.
And Collicott salvages that trip. 1 for 2. Collicott very good at getting to the line. Sometimes can struggle at that line. Cougars trail by 6. Jaden Grade marking point. Now Gresh over to Uhlenbrock, over to Grade. Grade back to Uhlenbrock. 3. No good. Rebounded by Collicott. Williams slings it to Watts. Watts gets it to Beckman. Beckman back to Collicott. 3. No good off the front of the rim. Gets his own rebound. Goes up for the second chance and draws the foul.
Excellent effort there from Collicott. Being able to chase his own shot there. Finally seen with a second chance opportunity.
Yeah, and you just got Connor Podleski. Caught him napping a bit on that rebound and on that shot. Podleski just trying to keep pace and fouling from behind. Collicott misses that free throw again.
Yeah, the energy is going to definitely have to be high for the Cougars. Definitely going to have to be up and constant. Got to be able to just out-energy these guys because they're going to be here all night.
Collicott fruitless on that trip to the line. 1 for 4 now from the free throw line for Collicott. And those free throws, especially at this point in the game, could make a big difference. Cougars playing a high press. Grade gets past midcourt. Grade slashing in, gets it to Harrington. Harrington now moving central. Floater in. back to an 8-point game. Largest lead of the day for the Green Knights. Williams bringing down the near sideline, gets it to Watts. Watts over to Beckman. Beckman driving in, gets it to Collicott. Collicott flies in for a layup. And that breaks a 4+ minute field goal drought for CUC.
Great pass there from Chop Beckman. Able to see the cut in Collicott, see the breakdown of the defense. Excellent play.
Pitleski to Harrington. Harrington over to Olenbrock. Into Krieger. Now Olenbrock from 3. Rims out, rebounded by Collicott. And that ball, Joel Watts can't reel in the pass from Williams. A turnover for CUC and a change of possession back to St. Norbert as they get bailed out off of a fruitless possession.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of catch and shoot three-pointers so far for Norbert. So kind of meaning that CUC is kind of slacking off a little bit on defense, leaving some guys open. They're catching in the pocket. Fortunately, did not make the last one, but you can't rely on that in this game.
Now Olenbrock slowly moving in. Send over to Harrington. Harrington gets it to Pitleski. Pitleski nowhere to go. Gets it to Grade. Grade for 3. No good. Rebound Brown. Hands it off to Williams. Cougars trailing by 6, 7 minutes into the game. 1 for 7 in their last 7 field goal attempts. Now Kenton Pryor driving, baseline, back to Beckman. Beckman driving, steps back out to Pryor for 3. Short, rebound Pitleski. Make it 1 for 8 from the field. St. Norbert's has been struggling. Cougars, they've been struggling more. Harrington over to Grade. Grade back to Pitleski. Into Harrington in the mid-range. Harrington over to Pitleski from 3. No good again. CUC, as St. Norbert's lines up their subs, CUC's got to make the Green Knights pay sometime soon. Watts gets it into Brown. Brown driving in. Tough defense. That's a steal for Jaden Grade. They'll try and turn it into a transition bucket. They'll slow it down, actually. Back to Grade, back to Olenbrock, back to Harrington. Lobs that in for Krieger. Out to Grade. Back into Krieger. Krieger working on Pryor. Puts it up. No good. Rebounded by Brown. CUC not able to take advantage of St. Norbert's struggles yet. Both teams back on 2+ minute scoring droughts.
Kind of hope that, these open shots eventually start to fall. They're getting good looks. You just got to be able to keep making them and keep providing the ball, and eventually the ball's gonna go in the hoop.
Joel Watts moving right, streaks that across to Beckman. Beckman driving in, fading away, puts it up, no good. Rebounded by Olenbrock.
But to Norbert's credit, though, they are contesting. They're giving CUC some tough looks. Hands are up always, just providing some tough shots for them.
Pitleski to Harrington. Harrington driving. And that's out of bounds off of Harrington. Brown tried to draw the charge. No call made. As we see a wave of subs for both teams. Collicott back in the game for the Cougars. Wilson and Gresh back in the game for St. Norbert's. Nikolai tries to lob that in. That goes out of bounds. Wilson and Harrington miscommunicating and running into each other. Wilson is slow to get up. CUC forces a turnover. They'll take possession back.
Early on in this game so far, from what I've noticed, they're really trying to get Brant Wilson going. They're getting the ball to him on the weak side. They get a lot of guys over on the strong side. Then they get one ball handler on the weak side, and they bring Brant Wilson over on the post. Looking to get him going down there.
Watts slings out to Beckman. Wide open from 3. Hits it! That breaks a 3+ minute scoring drought from both teams.
What we need right there is what we need.
And that's going to be a defensive foul from behind, tagged to Joel Watts. They'll send St. Norbert's to an inbound play. To both teams' credit, they have not been fouling much this game. 10 minutes in, 5 total fouls between both teams.
So again, getting to him on the weak side.
And there's the bucket. Brant Wilson takes the 1-on-2. Like it's easy money, back to a 5-point lead. Yonguao over to Watts, over to Johnson, over to Collicott. Collicott back to Johnson. Johnson driving baseline, puts it up. No good. Tipped around by Beckman, rebounded by Johnson. And Johnson able to keep possession, sling it out to Collicott. Tough play from Johnson, out to Watts. Now Watts slashing in, backing out. Short time left. Watts has to do something with it, and it's stolen. And Stuckey tagged with a travel. Coach Gresh wants a foul called. Cougars force a turnover.
Really good defensive possession there from the Cougars. Don't let this Norbert team speed you up. Stay aggressive and keep being tenacious.
Watts gets the pick, drives in, out to Collicott. Collicott steps back, now he'll drive in. Spinning into the paint, puts it up and in. How about that? Up and under from Jacob Collicott. That beats the 6'8" Brant Wilson. Will Stuckey. Over to Wilson, over to Nikolai. Nikolai gets it to Gresh. Gresh driving in, and an easy bucket for Garrett Gresh.
Really good response there from Norbert after a really tough bucket from Collicott.
These two teams going blow for blow. Watts over to Yonguao, over to Brown. Brown, jumper, hits it. Aaron Brown showing off that mid-range ability so far today.
That's what the Cougars need to keep on doing. Keep making shots from the perimeter. Then that paint will start to open up once you draw them out. Really good shot there for Aaron Brown.
To Wilson, to Stuckey, now to Nikolai. Driving on Yonguao, just throws it up. And now the Cougars going to get a fast break. Watts wide open for the layup. That's going to force a timeout from Gary Gresh. CUC. They were struggling at a point there, trailing by 8. They're back within 1, 17-16. Full timeout called by Gary Gresh, his first of the day, as they take a break down on the court. We'll take a short break here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network and Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars, they just clawed back within 1. It's 17-16. St. Norbert still leads. We were just talking about over the break. Brant Wilson, when he's out on the court, there's a very specific type of offense that St. Norbert's likes to play.
Yeah, you know, they're getting him on the weak side, having a ball guy, giving him the ball, and just letting him go to work on the post. CUC's going to have to send a couple bodies at him, maybe a double team here and there, just to keep him in check, because if not, he's just going to keep on just making him pay, especially on the little spin move that he had earlier on Johnson.
Gresh hits from 3 again. That's a way to respond. But St. Norbert's back up by 4.
But, yeah, CUC is just going to have to keep sending bodies at Brant Wilson and force him to take tough shots. Can't let him go one-on-one in the post.
Collicott thought about it, gets it over to Johnson. Brown trips, stays on his feet, back to Yonguao. Now Yonguao moving in, double teamed by Gresh and Wilson. 5 seconds left. Brown driving, puts it up on Wilson and draws the foul.
And that's also another way get this Norbert team off balance. Got to get some of these guys in foul trouble.
If you want to get a guy in foul trouble, how about Brant Wilson? Not there yet, but 2 fouls through 12 minutes is not the pace that you want your key player to be going at.
Absolutely not. But, you know, if you're CUC, that's a really good sign. Because now you see he's coming out the game now. Now that kind of opens up the paint a little bit more. Maybe opens up a little bit more scoring versatility. Now you got to take advantage.
And this is the last time St. Norbert's didn't have Wilson on the court. This is when we saw that St. Norbert's offense struggle. The reason it didn't cost them, the Cougars' offense was struggling at that point, almost 4 minutes without a point. Now the Cougars' offense has been a bit more consistent. Now you have Wilson off the court. Your only real big man is Garrett Gresh. You got to take advantage of it like you mentioned, Allen. Aaron Brown. 2 for 2 from the line that time. Cougars back within 2. Jaden Grade gets it to Garrett Gresh. Gresh, hand off to Harrington. Harrington thought about 3. He'll back out of that. Has to just ditch it out to Gresh. Grade, nowhere to go yet. Pitleski gives him an option. Under 10 left on the shot clock. 5 left on the shot clock. Harrington pulls from 3. No good. Straight to Pitleski. Gresh, straightaway 3. No good. Rebounded by Pitleski again. Now Grade from 3. He misses, and Watts is finally there for the rebound. Collicott pushing the pace. Blocked by Grade. Hard fall from Jacob Collicott. Tried to evade Grade and couldn't. I mean, you go back at that possession, you got to kick yourself if you're St. Norbert's. 2 of those 3 threes were wide open threes that you've got to have if you're getting second chances like that.
They love the catch and shoot. They love the catch and shoot, and the CUC just has to get back a little bit on that defensive side once they get the board and just close out on these shooters. They haven't really put the ball down much on the floor, so you force them down there, maybe it's going to struggle, maybe struggle a little bit more.
Williams working on Pitleski, driving, baseline, mid-range jumper, no good, short, rebounded by Olenbrock. Cougars starting to struggle a little again. Olenbrock over to Harrington. Harrington into Gresh. Gresh going to work on Brown. Gresh plays into the contact and draws the foul.
It's good defensive possession there for Aaron Brown, making him run at the line. Just kind of went up a little bit on the shot fake and kind of cost him there. But just got to keep the feet down a little bit. He probably does not get the call there if that happens.
Gresh, his first opportunity at the line today. First trip to the line for any of these Green Knights, and Gresh misses his first. Garrett Gresh on the season is an 80% free throw shooter. I mean, we've seen him today. He is a stretch big. He types out as a stretch big. And usually that translates into free throw ability, but 0 for 2 from that trip. Aaron Brown and Kenton Pryor just staring at each other with some miscommunication. How about that for a bailout? You go 0 for 2 from the line, and then the other team just slaps the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, that's undisciplined basketball right there. That cannot happen.
Cougars catch a gift. St. Norbert's. Doesn't cost them. Both big men out of the game now for St. Norbert's. Grade working on Williams. 10 left. Over to Pitleski. Pitleski moving in, slings to Grade. Grade now driving in. Grade loses it. Out of bounds. They're going to give it to St. Norbert's. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Got to be a catch and shoot play now for St. Norbert's. Have a little bit of time to catch the ball and set up a shot.
Got to contain.
Grade to inbound. Could have looked for Olenbrock. Catch and shoot. No good. Rebound by Williams. Cougars have numbers. Williams to Collicott. Into contact. No good. That was tipped back in by Pitleski. That's an own bucket from St. Norbert's.
So I wonder who the bucket will go to then.
Cougars tie it back up at 20. Olenbrock down low to Krieger, and Krieger gets his first bucket of the day.
That was a much better job, though, for Aaron Brown. Stayed a little more down his feet there. Even though the shot went in, that was much better defensive possession for him. Good to see that. He made the adjustment there.
22-20, St. Norbert's leads. Ball pass to Collicott. Collicott going to work on Harrington. Collicott fade away. Hits it! We're tied back up. A little update on that own bucket from Pitleski. Their shot does go as a rebound and a bucket to Darian Williams. Jaden Grade running point. Grade takes the pick from Ohlenbrock. Back to Ohlenbrock. Straightaway three. No good off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Brown. Miscommunication again. And Collicott's going to foul Krieger. That'll send Kyle Krieger to the line. Aaron Brown has been struggling with that ball security under the rim on rebounds today.
Yeah, just a few little empty possessions there from Brown. But as we mentioned before, Jonathan, the catch and shoot three has been a big theme for Norbert. And I don't really know if the Cougars really need to send more bodies at this Norbert team on a ball handler. I don't really feel like these guys are going to beat them off the dribble that much, and we have good athletes here. I think they're going to have to let them kind of play one-on-one a little bit and just stay on these shooters a little bit more, because this has really just been their game so far, has been the catch and shoot three.
Mm-hmm. Which is not what you expect from a team that has this big of a roster, but ugly free throw from Krieger. He'll try and salvage it, and he does. 1 for 2. They're back up by 1. Lowry will run point. Over to Beckman. Back to Williams. Back to Lowry. Back to Collicott. Collicott slings to Williams. Williams now driving in. Out to Brown. Mid-range jumper. This time it's no good. It's rebounded by Nikolai. Nikolai being pressed by Williams. And a late foul call tagged to Williams. Inbound to Stuckey. 4:15 left in the half. Stuckey still working on Lowry. He'll cut middle. He'll sling that down to the corner to Ohlenbrock. Ohlenbrock looking for somewhere to go. Gets it back to Stuckey. Stuckey moving left. Out to Nikolai for three. No good again. Rebound Brown. A team that started hot from three is struggling from three in St. Norbert's. Collicott to Williams. Williams thought about three. Sends back to Collicott. Back to Beckman. Beckman to Brown. Back to Collicott. He'll take that three. That is well short. Rebounded by Ohlenbrock.
Well, not just them. Also, the Cougars been struggling from three as well. That is 14% on the night so far. 1 for 7.
Harrington to Nikolai. Wide open. Misses it. And a rebound and a foul on Nikolai. Hard fall from Jacob Collicott.
It's definitely been a defensive-minded game, I would say. But something to note, though, Cougars are out-rebounding Norbert.
That's impressive against a team this big. But you see, Brant Wilson's still on the bench. Gresh just came back into the game. I think we're going to see Coach Gresh try and leave Wilson on the bench for the rest of this half. Don't risk getting that third foul. Head into the second half with only 2 fouls. Because if you can keep your team even with CUC or even 1 or 2 points ahead without your best player on the court, you're looking pretty good going into that second half.
Most definitely, and the Cougars just got to take advantage of that, especially with him not being out there. Try to really get some shots going, and you can even start getting into that paint a little bit more.
Under 10 left, Collicott just throws it up, and he's fouled by Harrington.
But to Norbert's credit, they are really doing a great job of rotating. When a guy comes in, as we saw with Collicott there was another defender there, and I believe that was Harrington that came on the rotation. You have 2 guys now on Collicott at once, and those kind of defensive schemes, they kind of mess with you a little bit because you're only worried about one guy. Now you got to worry about a second guy instantaneously. Kind of throw you off a little bit.
Collicott hits both, and CUC is back in front for the first time since it was 5-4, 2 minutes into the game. 24-23, Stuckey running point for St. Norbert's. Gets it to Harrington. Harrington puts it, sends that into Krieger. Krieger working on Beckman. Back out to Stuckey. Over to Harrington. Harrington driving in. Kicks out to Gresh. Gresh over to Nikolai. Now Stuckey for three. No good. Rebound Pryor. Collicott, nice ball to Watts. Watts to Beckman. Easy layup. CUC leads by 3, their largest lead of the day.
Way to push the pace, way to push the tempo. Great transition offense there from the Cougars.
Gresh into Krieger. Krieger working on Beckman. Krieger fading away and one. Krieger, great job of playing into that contact and drawing the foul. He has a chance to even it up at 26.
That was an excellent job finishing through that contact. Kind of looked like Sean Beckman went a little bit under him, pushed him out a little bit. And hopefully here, you know, for Norbert, they'll look to complete the three-point play.
Krieger puts it up and in. Three-point play for Kyle Krieger. We're all tied up at 26. Joe Watts running point for the Cougars. Collicott coming over. To Pryor, to Collicott. Collicott central, triple teamed. Falling back, blocked by Krieger. Harrington slings that into Gresh. Gresh can't hold on. That's a steal. Collicott over to Watts. Watts thought about three. Thinks better of it. Now Watts, double teamed, slings it to Williams. Williams, mid-ranger, no good. Got to hit that shot. Rebounded by Nikolai. Gresh slings into the paint. They're going to tag Watts with a foul. That puts St. Norbert's into the bonus, and that'll send Krieger back to the line for 1-1.
A lot of struggling possessions here on both sides offensively. Norbert shooting 34.5%. Cougars not shooting that much better, only 35.7%. It's really been a war of attrition so far.
Krieger misses the first shot. Fruitless possession, rebounded by Youngwell. Lowry running point.
So they try to get Aaron Brown here. A shot here has been hot.
Back to Williams. Williams over to Lowry. Cougars trapped inside the perimeter. Lowry driving. Fouled. That one tagged on the non-existent number 3. Looks like they'll finally give it to Jaden Grade. 1-1 shot now for Tallis Lowry.
Quite nice so far for Lowry. First attempt at the line.
And no good. Out of bounds off of Brown. Both teams get one-on-one opportunities on back-to-back possessions. Both teams go fruitless. We're still tied at 26. Minute left in the half. Grade gets it to Krieger. Krieger to Harrington. Harrington to Gresh. To Grade. Grade looking for somewhere to go. Sends that into Harrington. Harrington, mid-range jumper, hits it. St. Norbert's is back on top. They lead 28-26.
That's a good possession there for Norbert, moving the ball around. Got Harrington to cut into that block. He's just able to get a good look. Tough shot, but made it.
Cougar is going to try and take a slow possession here. Under 10 left. Lowry moving left. Lowry gives it to Brown. Back to Lowry. 3-2. Lowry has to throw it up. Shot clock violation. St. Norbert's 3 seconds left. Chance for a heave to try and extend their lead into the locker room. Gresh to Grade. And not even close. That's how the half will end. St. Norbert's battles to a 28-26 lead over Concordia Chicago. CUC still very much within reach as they head to the locker room. These two teams will take a break. We'll take a break here at the Cougar Sports Network as well. Cougars trail by 2. We'll be back for half number 2 in 15 minutes. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here in River Forest for half number 2 of today's matchup between the Cougars and the Green Knights. St. Norbert's leads by 2, 28-26 in a low-scoring war of attrition in the first half. Their leading scorer on the day so far, Jacob Collicott with 8, and then it's Garrett Gresh with 8. Collicott has 9. I mean, these two teams back and forth, both of them struggling on offense at points today. CUC, a couple 2-minute droughts in there. Same for St. Norbert's, but I mean, you talked about before the game, Alan, bench points was going to be a huge part of this game. Cougars needed to focus on that, and it hasn't really turned out the way you wanted them to work on it, but it has for St. Norbert's.
Yeah, St. Norbert right now outscoring the Cougars bench by 7 points, 9-2. Cougars just got to get more guys on the floor and get them involved. I mean, they're not really going to get any more offensive versatility if they don't get these guys going, and I really do feel like the bench is going to be a key piece to getting some offensive production going. You can't just rely on your main scores, till about the late half of the game. So interesting to see how it plays out.
Brant Wilson misses the short shot, rebounded by Brown.
And that's another guy that is going to have a really big impact towards the end of this game. Brent Wilson, obviously got into foul trouble in that first half, but now he's back in. Curious to see how, the adjustments that CUC will make.
Brown going to work on Wilson, throws it up wide right. That's going to be out of bounds off of Collicott.
You already see the impact that he's having. Forcing Aaron Brown to take a really, really tough shot there. A floater that he kind of faded away from. Doesn't really want to go up on him. And for good reason. Incredible shot blocker and the anchor of their defense.
Stuckey on the far sideline gets it to Gresh. Gresh, nice ball into Wilson. And St. Norbert's picks up the first points of this half. Rashawn Searle is already going to call a timeout. Doesn't want this team to bleed anymore before they get on the board.
Probably going to talk to him about containing Brent Wilson once again. Once again, we got the ball over to him on the weak side and tripped over his own guy. I believe that was Harrington he tripped over, but Cougars weren't able to pick up on that, and he had a wide open paint. Easy layup. So just got to control those mistakes, not force them out, as much. But just looking for the Cougars here to regroup.
Out of timeout, Cougars will have possession, trailing by 4, almost a minute into the second half. Lowry running point. And Talis Lowry, he kind of took over that starting point guard role since Joel Watts got injured, and he's done a great job of it. He has struggled today, however, only one shot attempt, no points on the day, and no assists. Beckman on the far side gets it to Collicott. Collicott up on Stuckey, no good, rebounded by Gresh. Over to Harrington. Harrington looking for somewhere to go, gets it to Nikolai. Nikolai into Wilson, going to work on Brown. Wilson goes up and in.
Size matchup just does not favor Aaron Brown. Just have a little bit of a height difference there, and Wilson just able to use his long arms to just put it over him. Lowry
taking the pick, moving left, gets it back to Beckman. Beckman driving in now. Gets it over to Collicott. Collicott, short shot, rolls out. Not enough on it. The Cougars, you go back to how they ended that first half, it's over a 3-minute scoring drought. 3 from Wilson, no good, rebounded by Harrington. Cougars have not scored in over 4 minutes of game time. That's out of bounds off of Beckman. .11 seconds left on the shot clock. Stuckey to inbound.
Seems like they're going to try to keep feeding Wilson here.
Grant Wilson hands straight off to Stuckey. Nikolai on the perimeter. Back to Harrington. Lobs in for Wilson. Able to get it. Wilson goes up. Does not beats the shot clock off the rim. Eventually rebounded by Aaron Brown. CUC strong defense. Watts slashing in. Layup and in. Joel Watts does it all himself, and the Cougars finally break the drought.
Nifty move there from Joel Watts. Be able to get through the defense. Nice little easy layup. Hopefully gets his Cougars offense going a little bit.
And there's an off-ball foul. Tagged on Collicott. Nikolai inbounds to Stuckey. Stuckey slashes to Harrington. Harrington looking for an option. Gets it to Gresh. Gresh going to go to work on Beckman. Plays into the contact and draws the foul again. Gresh able to get Beckman going with the shot fake.
And that's just one of those undisciplined fouls there. You know, Coach Searles over on the side telling Beckman to stay down on that. You got to keep your feet down. Don't go for the fake, and you won't get called for that. That's something that the Cougars are going to have to focus on a little bit throughout the rest of this game. Got to make that adjustment.
Gresh hits the shot. I mean, Gresh today has not really been a threat in the paint. He has one bucket in the paint. Everything else is coming from the perimeter, and now free throws. Gresh goes 2 for 2, brings it back to a 6-point lead for the Green Knights. Watts, running point. That's it to Williams. Williams, he sees an opening. He's going to slash in. No good. Rebounded by Wilson.
And you see Wilson on the rotation there, getting the contest, making it tough for Williams.
That pass picked off by Williams. Cougars wanted to travel earlier than that. Now Williams, no looker to Johnson. Johnson tries to lay that in. No good. That's out of bounds off of Johnson. Coach Searle is very frustrated with the officiating in the last minute. Grade gonna commit an offensive foul. Called for a shove on Joel Watts. Watts ties the shoe. CUC will take possession back, and after that last couple of plays, CUC might be thinking ball don't lie.
Grade looking a little confused there. Acting as if he did not throw a little forearm in there and push Joel Watts down. He knows what he did there.
I mean, that was a big elbow thrust, but Watts, running point, slashing in, sees a gap, throws it up, and in! Joel Watts for 2. He has been the sole offensive producer this half for the Cougars.
Starting off the half strong.
Grade! Nowhere to go! Blocked by Brown. You heard that smack of the ball all the way up here. Now Brown for 3. No good. Rebounded by Nikolai.
That's some good energy there from the Cougars. Like to see that. Offenses and defense both looking good.
Now Wilson goes up. No good. Rebounded by Collicott. St. Norbert's struggling. This is when the Cougars have to take advantage. Collicott to Williams. Williams, pump fake, mid-range jumper. Hits it. Cougars back within 2.
That's a beautiful play there from Darren Williams. Faked the three-pointer. Was able to get the steps in into the dribble pull-up on the mid-range. That's his shot right there. That is his area. He drives on the mid-range, and beautiful shot.
Wilson, short hook. Easy shot for the big man. Williams moving in, and they're going to tag that as a charge on D. Williams.
Yeah, that is the right call right there.
Yeah. I've got to say, I do appreciate that the officials are calling charges like that, because something I've noticed throughout this season is the officiating at this level is very much stuck to that. If your feet aren't set, it's a blocking foul. It's on the defense. This officiating crew showing a willingness to say, yeah, no, that's on the offense. Going both ways so far as well. Stuckey floats it up. awkward. That was a weird shot. Just don't think he expected to be that open. And a forced pass from Johnson. St. Norbert's a chance to push it the other way. Olenbrock's going to slow it down. Pitleski, nice shot. St. Norbert's is back up by 6.
He's able to get the matchup on Joel Watt. You see Johnson try to come over for the help. Was a little bit too late. It was already enough possession there on Norbert's side to get an easy lay there, but just can't make those kind of mistakes. Kind of see that turnover turn into a bucket for
Watts to Collicott. Collicott, good layup. Way to avoid the defense. And Jacob Collicott into double digits tonight.
And this is a guy that's going to have to get going a little bit more. Jacob Collicott struggling a little bit from the floor tonight. 4 for 12. Hopefully he can get going a little bit.
Stuckey working on Watts. Slings it to Nikolai. Goes up at Leski, left wide, open. Misses the 3, rebounded by Watts. Passes up to Collicott. Collicott, he's going to take advantage of that. Eventually he backs out and slings it to Watts. Watts pulls up, rims out. Both teams struggling from 3 still today. Watts can't get past the screen. That's over to Stuckey. Stuckey to Gresh. Gresh is going to go to work. And they're going to call a blocking foul on Johnson. I think Johnson's in the restricted area.
And, John, I kind of want to touch back on that three-point shooting. I don't know if this is a career or a season worst for the Cougars, but 11% from the three-point line tonight. I mean, granted, it's only been 9 shots, but still, you know, they haven't taken many, but it just haven't been able to capitalize on much of anything at all from the three-point line.
Stuckey over to Olenbrock, into Krieger. Krieger going to work on Pryor. Krieger spins up, short, rebounded, gets his own shot, and gets a second chance opportunity. I mean, the only game I can think of the Cougars shooting this poorly from 3 is their season opener against Greenville. They still shot 12% in that game. We are under today against St. Norbert's Cougars at 11%. Over to Watts. Watts into Beckman. Beckman going to work on Krieger. Puts up the floater and in.
A little turnaround jumper there. Able to use the shoulder, free up some space there. And able to use his height.
Pryor almost picks that pass off. Nikolai driving in, and he's going to draw a foul. Beckman, just a bit too much movement as he goes up for the block. Rashawn Searles wants to talk to the officials.
Now I'm pretty sure you have to take Beckman out of the game now. This is 4th foul. And not even 12 minutes left to go in the half.
Nikolai hits first, and I think what Coach Searles wants to talk about, part of it's that shot, part of it is in that chaos down there. The Cougars bench was confident that St. Norbert's had traveled. Nikolai looking to make it a 6-point game again.
That's going to be a huge loss for the Cougars throughout this stretch, especially with the size difference.
This is rebounded by Brown. The Cougars haven't seen really any scoring from their 2 main producers lately of Brown and Collicott this half. Only 2 points from the 2 combined. Watts to Williams. Williams moving in with space. Fouled and one! Darian Williams gonna produce. And he has a chance to make it a 2-point game.
And this is something that this is a guy I definitely wanted to see kind of go off in this situation. I think this is kind of a game that's kind of made for him. You know, with Norbert being such a really good paint defensive team, you know, you're able to pick your spots in the perimeter. I think this is something that plays to Darren Williams' strength.
And Williams, 3-point play, 41-39 CUC. They really have struggled in this second half, but they are managed to stay in it.
Well, you got to give CUC credit. You know, they're playing really, really tough defense. They're giving Norbert really, really contested shots. And, you know, for the most part, just been 1 or 2 makes that has been the difference of this game.
Krieger going to go to work on Brown. Krieger jumps into contact and gets the bucket. Krieger flexes as he runs back down the court. St. Norbert's back up by 4. And they're going to tag an illegal screen on Aaron Brown.
Got to play a little bit more discipline here if you're CUC. And I have to believe that they're going to have to start making an adjustment on that low block with Norbert. A lot of their offense recently has just been just get the ball down in the paint, let a guy go to work, and then start sending a few bodies in, especially with them struggling from the three-point line. Make them beat you from the outside now.
Harrington to Ohlenbrock. Ohlenbrock moving in. Ohlenbrock loses it. Williams with a steal. Williams sees an opening, gets it to Brown. Brown, 2 points. Darian Williams showing off his ability as a distributor, and CUC is back within 2. Grade to Pileski.
Once again, here they go.
Into Krieger. Krieger out to Ohlenbrock for 3, and that goes. Russell Blow and the officials want to have a conversation about something. You have to imagine there's no reason that shot won't stand. If it does, that's a first 3 hit in this half for either team. Ohlenbrock left wide open on the perimeter.
You kind of think that with Norbert just controlling the paint down there, getting the ball down to their post players, that eventually CC was going to have to send a body down there, and that freed up the three-pointer for him. And don't know if it's good or not yet. Or I guess it is now. But that's going to be a big sign of trouble if, St. Norbert starts getting both the paint and the three-point shooting going. Going to have to find a way to manage one or the other.
And again, this is where the problem has come up for the Cougars. When the Cougars have struggled, St. Norbert's hasn't pulled away, but every time the Cougars have started shooting well, St. Norbert's responds by starting to shoot well. Both teams 3 for their last 3.
Oh, that's what good teams do. Once you get punched in the mouth, you punch right back. And that's the reason why these guys are where they at in the NAC standings and have been so productive.
Brown long, 2, and makes it.
Aaron Brown having a great game from the perimeter. I believe that's his 3rd mid-range of the game. Doing a great job picking those spots and just executing.
Wilson for 3. He hits it. You want to talk about danger? This is it. St. Norbert starting to turn it on from 3. They lead by 5. Good opening, good movement. Pryor slashes in, and it's back to a 3-point game. And in this quick transition, we'll give a shout out to Aaron Brown, his first career double-double, a new career high in rebounds for Aaron Brown with 10. Pitleski tries to escape. Cougars trying to retain possession. That's out of bounds. Off of St. Norbert's. Cougars caused some chaos. And they'll take possession back and force a turnover.
I have a feeling it's going to be a really exciting finish. Energy is starting to get ramped up a little bit. You kind of feel the energy in the building. It's going to be a really, really nice finish to this game.
Gary Gresh goes to Garrett Gresh, sends him to the scorer's table. Jamison Nikolai preparing to go back in. Dallas Lowry swings to Watts. Watts pulls for 3. Hits it! And the Cougars have tied it up at 48. And that was a needed 3 for this Concordia squad. St. Norbert's trying to be aggressive in transition. Harrington out to Wilson. Wilson now going to send it over to Pitleski.
Got to get the switch here.
Over to Grade, over to Krieger. Krieger back over to Pitleski, back to Grade, over to Harrington. Wide open from 3. St. Norbert's finally getting the perimeter working and allowing themselves to respond to Concordia. Watts to Collicott to Pryor. Pryor to Watts. Watts back to Pryor. Pryor now driving out to Lowry, and they're going to call foul on the floor.
It's starting to get good, man. It's starting to get good.
Like you mentioned, both of these teams, you get punch, you punch right back. Cougars 6 for their last 6. St. Norbert's 5 for their last 5. Whenever a team's struggling, the other team's struggling. Whenever the other team's hot, the other team is hot. Both teams hot right now. Pryor gets it to Lowry. They give it to Watts. Watts to Collicott, to Pryor. Pryor, double team, Pryor moving. Throws it out to Watts. Watts just throws up a long 3. Shot clock expiring. It was rebounded by Harrington. That ends the streak. Wilson over to Nikolai. Wilson over to Harrington. Harrington driving in. Back out to Nikolai for 3. Nikolai hits! That's going to be a timeout for Coach Searles. Concordia got hot. St. Norbert's responded, and they lead by 6.
Norbert starting to shoot the ball really well from the three-point line. So far in this half, 60%. You know, that's a big improvement from their first half numbers. And you're starting to see the little bit of the flaws in that Concordia defense. Collicott was caught a little bit lacking down there. Doesn't really have to be down there. You already had 2 guys down in that paint, containing and controlling. Left the three-point shooter open and made him pay.
That's what St. Norbert's has been doing. They're finding ways to keep Concordia honest when they get hot. And the Green Knights getting hot, getting a big lead when they really would love to have it most.
Yeah, but I really want to give big shout out to Joel Watts so far. You know, we talked about the bench points, and he's a guy who has came off the bench tonight. But he has been actually, hot from the field. This second half has been providing a lot of points for them. And I believe it is 7 points this half so far. Has been a big boost for them. Kind of got to keep looking towards him this half, but you got to get these other guys involved as well. And, this has been a really good game, Jonathan. I really can't say much else. It's just been, teams make shots, and that's how it goes. But CUC does have to clean up a few things on the defensive end. Just got to be able to just not get off these shooters and just stay on them.
And you have to imagine at some point in the game, one of these teams is going to go on a slump again. I can't imagine that both these teams are going to stay hot for 10 minutes straight with how this game's gone. St. Norbert's goes cold. The Cougars are going to have to make them pay that time if they want to substantially climb back into this game. They've gotten close. They haven't been able to get over the hump yet.
And it's kind of like that double-edged sword right now for the CUC. You have to pay attention to Brandon Wilson, right, because he's just been so dominant in the paint early on. But then you leave those three-point shooters open, but vice versa. If you leave the shooters open, then you got to worry about Brandon Wilson. So CUC just has to find that middle ground on the defensive end.
Lobs in to Collicott. Collicott double teams, goes to Brown, and an easy layup for the big man. Cougars do exactly what they want out of the timeout.
It's a great pass there from Jacob Collicott, showing that selfless ability that he has to be a playmaker.
Wilson hands off to Stuckey. Stuckey gets it back to Wilson. Wilson going to go to work. Spinning, easy hook.
It's almost not even fair.
That's exactly what you expect the big man to do, make shots like that. Collicott to Williams. Williams to Pryor. Watts coming over, handoff to Watts. Pryor in the corner, driving in, turns, puts it up and in.
Tough bucket there from Pryor. Cougars are battling. They are battling.
Cougars 8 for their last 9. Wilson over to Harrington. The Cougars, you can see they're tightening up the perimeter defense, and that leaves Jamison Nikolai wide open in the paint.
And I see what they're trying to do. You're trying to force Brant Wilson out the paint, get him on the perimeter. It's not going to be as effective, right? But, that opens up that lane for these other guys to cut in. And you just got to pay attention to him. You got to stay on your man and not let him get open.
Watts, corner 3. No good. Jump ball called on the rebound. That's Concordia ball.
Fantastic effort there from Aaron Brown. Be able to get 2 hands on that basketball, get that jump ball. And these are the kind of possessions that the Cougars are going to need to have. It's going to be gritty, nitty-gritty basketball. It's going to be played these next 6 minutes. Got to continue that effort.
Watts lobs that back in to Beckman. Watts turning, slashing in. Double teamed. Just tries to throw it to Beckman. It's blocked by Stuckey. Watts goes in too deep and gets double teamed. Nikolai driving. Throws out for Stuckey to Gresh for three. No good. Rebounded by Watts to Collicott. Collicott pushing the pace. Gets it to Williams. Williams driving baseline. And he'll draw the foul. That's going to get tagged on Stuckey. Stuckey's third of the day. It really is impressive how it really just has been. And you get punched, you punch right back from these two teams. Concordia Chicago's been shooting incredibly well over the last 5 minutes, and so is St. Norbert's. Neither team playing poorly. Watts gets it to Beckman. Beckman for three. No good. Rebounded by Nikolai.
Gotta keep getting those kind of looks. Just gotta start making them now.
That's tapped out of bounds by Watts. 4 seconds left for St. Norbert's to get it past midcourt. We'll see how much the Cougars press. Nikolai to inbound, gets it to Stuckey. Stuckey barely gets it past in time. Gets it to Nikolai in the corner. Nikolai to Harrington, to Wilson. Wilson to Nikolai for three. No good. Long rebound by Nikolai. Heads up play to throw it off of Collicott.
Disciplined team. That is just fantastic mental IQ there. They would save your team of possession there.
I think Concordia Chicago is playing well. St. Norbert's just playing better. Harrington will inbound. Yongwao subbed in for Collicott. Collicott struggled in this second half. 1 shot attempt, 1 bucket. Hasn't played much of an impact otherwise. Inbound to Nikolai. Double teamed immediately. Gets it out to Harrington in the corner. Harrington driving, and Harrington draws the foul. That'll be tagged on Williams. That'll send Harrington to the line for a 1-and-1.
Maybe this is what the Cougars need a little bit here. Some time to slow down. Like, it's just been such chaotic basketball these past few minutes. Not a little moment to breathe. But even though, you know, it's unfortunate on the foul, you know, maybe give us a chance here to reset a little bit.
Harrington misses the free throw, rebounded by Yongwao. Watts running point. Over to Brown, over to Williams. Back to Yongwao. Beckman for three. Short again, rebounded by Gresh.
Some good ball screens to get Beckman open. Fortunately, he wasn't able to hit the shot, but he's getting those open looks. Can't go cold now.
Stuckey out to Gresh. Gresh over to Harrington for three. Well short. That's out of bounds. Off of Wilson. Let me take a break. Quick look to the rest of the NAC and games relevant to the Cougars. Lakeland falls to Illinois Tech 84-66. Aurora beats Concordia, Wisconsin by 1 in Mequon. Marion defeats Rockford 81-56. It's that Lakeland game, that Aurora game, and that Rockford-Marion game that are very relevant to the Cougars. And with Lakeland and Rockford losing, that is good for the Cougars. Cougars will stay tied with one of those teams, but that Aurora winning that game, that's tough. That is a tough one for CUC, especially if CUC can't come back today.
As we mentioned, you know, it's a huge playoff game. Got to find a way to be able to pull this out.
But what? An awkward falling corner three to bring it back within 3. The Cougars, they want to foul, and instead they want to carry. The Cougars bench livid. That'll get tagged on Collicott. It is something we haven't seen the officials calling from either side, transition, travels, and carries.
Yeah, it's been a pretty...
you say what it is. Both teams are upset, but they've been consistent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been pretty even on both sides. Just haven't been a very whistle-happy game, which is good to see. You know, letting both teams play, just letting them do what they have to do.
Harrington hits that first free throw.
Sometimes it just gets a little tedious just watching a lot of foul whistling. Doesn't really make it a fun game to watch.
Harrington 2 for 2, back to a 5-point game. That's going to be a timeout from Gary Gresh, a full timeout. And with 4 minutes left as teams take a break on the court, we'll take a break up here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment for more Cougar basketball. And welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars possession out of the timeout. They trail by 5. Beckman on the far sideline gets it to Collicott. Collicott going to work. Pump fake. Misses the shot. Rebounded by Williams. Second chance bucket. CUC back within 3.
Yes, that's just a great impact on tonight's game. Been a big part of this Cougar offense Darren Williams has. He has been somebody that Cougars desperately needed to get going, and he has showed up.
Gresh slings it to Harrington. Harrington to Wilson. Wilson in the corner. Back up to Gresh at the top of the key. Over to Stuckey. Stuckey to Wilson at the top. Over to Gresh. Wilson's moving into the paint. Nikolai, long 2. Gets the foul. Brown frustrated with himself.
Yeah, he knows he made a mistake right there.
Just overcommit.
And that's tough because you see the shot going up, you're trying to make a good contest, and you just unfortunately just kind of slip into a shooting lane. It was one of those that you definitely want to take back because it was a great contest. It was a great defensive possession there for the Cougars, but gotta hope that that doesn't come back to bite them here.
Nikolai misses the first shot. In that second half, the fouls have been going St. Norbert's way. The Cougars called for 9. St. Norbert's only called for 4. The Cougars only have 1 free throw on and 1. St. Norbert's has attempted 8 now. They're 5 for 8 from the stripe. Nikolai looking to salvage this trip, and he will. 1 for 2 at the line. St. Norbert's leads by 4 with just over 3 minutes remaining. Watts lets that ball roll as long as he can. Gets it to Brown to Williams. Back to Collicott. Collicott to Beckman. Beckman taking a lane. Called for a charge. The Cougars livid at that call. And that's going to foul Sean Beckman out of the game.
Just at a loss for words a little bit. I don't know if his feet were really set there. What do you think, Jonathan?
I mean, I'm going to go back to earlier in the game. We had a no call on a charge. I think that's your precedent. I think that's where the Cougars might be upset.
That is a huge loss for the Cougars this late in the game, especially on the size matchup.
Beckman out of the game. Cougars trailing by 4, 2.5 minutes to go. Cougars force the missed shot in transition. Watts pulls up, hits it! CUC gets their payback, and they're within 1.
Talk about the impact. Joel Watts has come through with some big-time shots, and that one gets him within 1. He's going to need to keep doing that. He's keeping us in this game.
Gresh in the paint. Gets it to Wilson. They're going to call no shot. Foul on the floor against Pryor. So that'll send Gresh to the line for a 1-and-1.
Yeah, the impact of Joe Watts tonight, man, has been tremendous. I mean, 6 for 8 from shooting. 15 points, 3 for 5 from the three-point range. And one of them was a kind of a, three-pointer because it was the end of the shot clock. So, he has made some very purposeful shots tonight. And somebody that has been a spark off the bench, Obviously, he was a big starter at the beginning of the year before the injury. But I think it's been a smart move to play him off the bench because he just brings that offensive production that you desperately needed. And he has been their life at the end of this half.
CUC trailing by 3. Gresh hits both free throws. Watts to Williams. Williams thought about 3, moves in. Shumper from the free throw line, well short, rebounded by Harrington. The Cougars not able to take the lead after St. Norbert's is on a nearly 5-minute field goal drought. And there's a jump ball that's going to go the way of St. Norbert's. The Cougars bench wants to travel.
Pretty fortunate there for Norbert. I think Harrington was calling for a timeout. I'll be happy to hear St. Norbert that was not called.
The Green Knights keep the timeout and retain possession. Harrington will inbound. He'll go to Gresh. Gresh will go to work. Gresh working on Pryor. Fade away. Hits it. St. Norbert's back up by 5. Williams looking for somewhere to go, just lobs that to Collicott. Collicott driving, baseline, fouled. So now the Cougars will get some free throws in the second half. Collicott heads to the line. Jacob Collicott started the game struggling from the free throw line. His last 2. And this late in the game, you got to be perfect from the charity stripe.
Yeah, he's going to come up huge here for his team. Really can't afford to miss 1. Yeah, I try to keep this a one possession game as best you can.
Collicott hits the first. This late in the game, you got to find a way to stop St. Norbert's from scoring. And the struggle with that is they weren't hitting field goals, but they were drawing fouls. They're getting free throws. Collicott hits the second, back to a 3-point game.
Got to get a stop here. Got to get a stop here.
Nikolai inbounds to Stuckey. Stuckey's foot looks to be on the line. Harrington able to break the press. And that's an offensive foul! Watts draws the charge!
Oh, man, the emotions are getting high, Jonathan.
The energy's up. The Cougars bench on their feet. We got about exactly a minute left. Cougars have the ball trailing by 3. They'll roll that into Watts.
Got to take advantage of that turnover.
Well, Watts working on Nikolai. He's driving in. He has some space. Throws it up. He's fouled. Tagged on Nikolai. That'll send Watts to the line. He has a chance to hit two. Again, you got to be perfect from the line this late in the game.
Good thing for the Cougars, Joel Watts is an 82% free throw shooter.
This is the guy you want at the line this late in the game. Hits the first. Nothing but net.
Just looks so calm. Just looks like, he just, obviously, he's a senior, been here before. Just looks like, he's controlling the moment.
Hits the second. Concordia Chicago trails by 1 with 48 seconds remaining. Nikolai looking for somewhere to go. Gets it to Harrington. Harrington, double team. Gets it to Nikolai. Nikolai. Timeout called by St. Norbert's.
Kind of feel the momentum shifting a little bit in the Cougars' way. With great pressure on the inbound. Just forcing Norbert to make a play. And they're able to advance the ball. Kind of just see that energy shift slowly but surely coming on the Cougars' side. Man, you can see this. There's a lot of smiles on that bench right now. The Cougars kind of feel like,
They're feeling it.
Yeah.
You got that late game. They've been hitting their shots. They're getting the opportunities. Now they're getting foul calls, which is another big thing. And you want to talk about momentum, that's another thing. St. Norbert's is having to foul because that's something we saw. St. Norbert's wasn't fouling. They didn't have to. Now the Cougars are driving. They're being aggressive. They're creating good opportunities. And the Green Knights on the back foot in the last 30, 40 seconds of this game. The Cougars, they brought it within 43 seconds left. That is a lot of game time left as well.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And, we mentioned in the pregame, you got Cougars needed to push the table, push the pace, be aggressive, get Norbert out of their comfort zone. Like I said, they're going to lull you a little bit into their game. And Cougars, these past few minutes, have been doing a great job of not falling into that. And this is something that they're going to have to continue. They're going to continue that trend. Now, the thing on the defensive side for the Cougars is, do you feel like they're going to go with Brendan Wilson in that paint?
And this is where I was going to go to next. What I've been thinking all game, this is the perfect time to bring it up. This St. Norbert's offense reminds me of the Purdue offense when they had Zach Edey. You had the big man. Brant Wilson is hooks. They're Zach Edey hooks. What beat that offense more effectively than anything was a hard press. A high press, force the offense off because you run the big man in the half court. That's what the Cougars are doing. Now you have 5 seconds. You got to run that high press again. You see Gresh, Harrington, Wilson all lined up deep because you're going to try and probably get it into Stuckey and have Stuckey chuck it down court for one of those guys.
Right.
Gresh comes onto it. Gresh just going to start moving. Gresh has got to go. Cougars almost able to get the 10-second violation. Gresh barely able to get the ball over the line. It's another timeout from St. Norbert's.
Even then, though, that is huge. Even though they weren't able to get the 10-second violation on the backcourt, they burn another timeout. Yep. And especially with how this game is coming down to the wire, 1 point, still a lot of clock left, right? This will be an impact.
Oh, absolutely. And you only have 18 seconds left as well. You drained 12 seconds off the possession, so you have a shorter possession for St. Norbert's. 36 seconds left. Concordia Chicago is going to get the last possession in the game.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have the last possession in the game, whether it's at a 1-point deficit, a 3-point deficit. Worst case scenario, the Green Knights hit a 3 on this possession. That puts you at a 2-possession game. You can hold the Green Knights scoreless here, only be down 1 with, that'd be about 18 seconds left in the game. That'd be huge for Concordia Chicago.
And, you'll live with the 2. You just can't give up. Just can't give up the 3 in this situation. So, gotta be able to get over on those ball screens.
And that should be a backcourt. Stuckey caught the ball with the foot down and stepped over. Harrington working on the far sideline, gives it to Wilson. Wilson draws the foul. The Cougars bench very upset with that call. I mean, I don't know what you do differently if you're Aaron Brown on that possession, on that defense.
I mean, you know that Wilson is going to turn on the shoulder. He's going to come down into you.
It was.
And they called on the flop, so I believe it'll be.
Oh. Wait, they called him on so they called Brown for a flop. That's gonna piss off the bench this late in the game. Gresh will take the free throws. Hits the first. I don't know how I feel about a flop call this late in the game.
Yeah, there's so many blocking calls throughout earlier in the game, and kind of just feel like that's just how the game has been going.
Especially because when Brown fell, it's when Wilson threw up a shoulder. He threw up the arm. He threw himself into Brown, and if you're going to call a flop because a guy, I mean, that's I don't like that call, not this late in the game.
And now it forces the Cougars to really need to stop here.
And now if you stop this possession, you only have 4 seconds. And a rough call for the Cougars. And they're going to foul Gresh. Gresh, he missed his first 2 free throws of the night. He has been perfect since.
He's had a good night tonight. 15 points. Not that many shots either. 4 for 9, so it's been effective with the shots he's taken.
Gresh hits the first.
Gotta hope for a miss here.
You have Johnson in for the rebound. Gresh misses it. Rebounded by Collicott. It's a 3-point game. The Cougars will have the last possession. Worst case scenario avoided. It stays a 1-possession game. And you're going to go for a 3 to tie.
And you see Aaron Brown a little bit, kind of beating himself up a little on the bench. And, it's just an unfortunate call on that, this late in the game to have a flop. And obviously, that's an extra, shot and then possession as well. But, the Cougars aren't out of it, obviously.
No.
They have the last shot here. They have a chance to make it right. And now we kind of would like to see, Joel Watts has been hot here. Either get him an open look or set a ball screen here for Darren Williams, get him open on the corner. And, he's had a good night too. Give one of those 2 guys an open look from the 3-point line and just hope for the best.
I mean, look back to the last game the Cougars played. 83-82 win over Rockford. Won it on a buzzer beater long 3 from Collicott. The Cougars, they've been in the late game situation like this before. Very recently. Most recent they can be. Just over a week ago. They're going to be in that again. But they have a full 18.8 second possession to work up a play and draw it up. Watts, the only player to hit a 3-pointer in this half. The only other player to hit a 3-pointer this game, Sean Beckman. He's fouled out.
We're really going to see how deep the Cougars go here. How much are you willing to go?
Williams windbound. It's Watts, Pryor, Brown, and Collicott out on the court. The starting lineup for St. Norbert's out on the court. Collicott, baseline, kicks out to Watts. 3, fading away. No good off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Stuckey, and he's fouled.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. They had an open look. Just was not able to hit it.
And that's also going to foul Aaron Brown out of the game. 4 fouls and a technical. Six seconds remaining, 2 shots. You need Stuckey to miss both.
See what the freshman does here. 2 big free throws coming up.
And he hits it. Stuckey a chance to make it a 5-point game with just over 6 seconds left. These free throws, the dagger pretty much. Hits the second. Cougars trailing by 5. You just got to chuck up a 3 and foul immediately. Watts, long 2. He hits it. Searles will call a timeout. They'll give him a 3. They're going to give him the 3-pointer. And it'll be changed to a 2. Full timeout for the Cougars. I mean, this is a hope and a prayer timeout. You have to foul immediately after the ball is inbounded. And you have to throw up, hope that they miss both free throws. And then throw up a 3 within 1.4 seconds. Probably less, because it'll probably take half a second to a second for that to get that foul off here.
Cougars do have a timeout, right?
They do have a timeout. Best case scenario, you force a 5-second down here on the court. St. Norbert does have 2 timeouts, and Coach Gresh will probably use as many of those as he can to avoid that 5-second violation. Nikolai inbounds to Gresh, and that's going to do it. Gresh is not fouled, and St. Norbert's wins it 69-66. The Cougars end their win streak. They drop a game at home to St. Norbert's College. The Green Knights win it over Concordia Chicago. Cougars can't pull off the upset. That drops them to 7-9 in conference play and leaves them tied with Rockford for that 8th seed in the playoff. Concordia Chicago heads out from here down to the south side this Wednesday to take on Illinois Tech at Tech. And St. Norbert's, they'll head on to their season finale a week from now to take on Marian University at home. Cougars, tough loss at home. Just didn't get enough breaks their way. A couple of highlights of those players, though. Joel Watts, 19 points on the game, his best efforts. Jacob Collicott, 13 points, 9 rebounds. Aaron Brown, his first career double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds. Over on the St. Norbert end, Brant Wilson and Garrett Gresh again leading the charge, 17 points, 16 points respectively. Kyle Krieger, 10 points as well. Cougars put up a fight. Not enough to get it done. St. Norbert's holds them pretty much to where they've been holding teams all season, 66 points. Before we close this game out, Alan, let's get your closing thoughts on the game today.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for the Cougars for sure. You know, they played a really good game tonight, and they played discipline. You know, they were able to start, struggle offensively to get in this game, but, you saw them kind of mold into their offense and sets a little bit more as the game got going. And, you saw Joel Watts really turn alive towards the end of this game, able to keep him in it. And there was a lot of good efforts tonight from this team. It was just unfortunate, at the end of the game, you let a call kind of seal it up for you a little bit, especially when the game wasn't going in that kind of way. It's just kind of unfortunate that, for me at least, the game was kind of taken away from you.
Yeah.
But it was a great effort, and honestly, there's a lot to take away from this game. And for the Cougars, with 2 games left in their season, they control their own destiny. So, as you said, it puts them in, the 8th seed, right? So you still have a chance to make this playoff. You win the Illinois Tech game, a game that they need to win.
Yep.
That on the outlook is projected for them to win. And then, you got to finish a tough one against MSOE.
And Rockford's the team you're watching here. They're the team tied with the Cougars. They have a very favorable schedule to close out this season. Benedictine, one of those teams in the middle of the conference. That's their toughest game left because they're also going to finish their season against Illinois Tech at home. The Cougars, this isn't where you want to be, but you have to look at it. The Cougars, they're in this situation because of that midseason struggle in January. Because of that severe slump, they managed to claw themselves back into contention. They came from a must-win game to you're in contention. You're tied for that last playoff spot, and I'm pretty sure they do have the tiebreaker over Rockford. But you got to win at least one of these two. You got to ideally win out to at least stay even with Rockford. Cougars, they'll head out to the south side, take on Illinois Tech. You can catch all the info and keep up with that at CUCougars.com. That'll do it here today in River Forest. Cougars fall 69-66 to the St. Norbert Green Knights. Huge thank you to everyone who helped us out today. Our spotter was Dave Dimeling. Working the scoreboard was Tyler Dorsch. On the cameras was Eric Perry, Jalen Franklin, and Jacob Garrison. Our producers today, Jess Dang and Ashley Schroll. Our photographer today, Emily Lucero. Our sports information directors, Corey Welch and Kayla McLeod. I'm Jonathan Shearer with the Cougar Sports Network. On air with me today was Alan Mateo. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. Thank you for joining us on the Cougar Sports Network today. Make sure to join us this next Wednesday for Cougars women's basketball. And the women take on Illinois Tech right here at home. That'll do it. Thank you for joining us. And as always, roll Cougs.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.